Hey guys, welcome back to Rossoneri TV. I'm Gio and I'm here for the match preview of Chievo against AC Milan. It's match day 10 in the 2017-18 Serie A season, and the match will be played tomorrow, October 25th at 8:45 p.m. Italian time at the Stadio Bentegodi in Verona. Important match for Milan, of course, following another disappointing result over the weekend. A 0-0 draw against Genoa just a few days ago at the San Siro, and what proves to be a crucial week yet again as Milan face Chievo tomorrow, and then later on in the week they'll play Juventus. So really it is the last week of the month. Milan still haven't picked up a win this month in all competitions, and they're really at risk of walking out of this month without anything to celebrate about. Chievo have been having a great season so far. They're currently ahead of Milan in the standings with 15 points, just behind the race for the Europa League as we speak. Of course, it is still a very long season, and maybe it's not really expected of Chievo once we speak about them of being so high in the standings, but they have been doing quite well in their games. They haven't lost a match since September 9th actually, and that came against Juventus. Since then, they have gone 6 games undefeated in the Serie A and picking up very important wins during that process, such as the derby win against Hellas Verona this past weekend, where they won that match 3-2, and also beating important teams like Fiorentina in that process and drawing against Atalanta, a very strong team as well. So Chievo, as you could see, they have their cards, I think, in the right places at the moment. They have been doing, as you could tell, very well in this season. Of course, it's still a long season, and Chievo is going to have to play some very important matches coming up next month as well against Napoli and Torino, tough opponents. This is all to say that Chievo is not one of those teams that we should underestimate. Of course, no team in the Serie A is to underestimate, but Chievo especially, their run of 6 games undefeated proves to be a very good record for them, and I don't think we need to walk into this match knowing that, we're gonna beat this team just because we have better players on the pitch. On the contrary, many times we have done that so far this season, and we all know the outcome. We haven't come out victorious. We have actually dropped embarrassing games, and many times we're still banging our head on the wall on how we failed to lose some matches, or sorry, how we have failed to win some matches, and simply speaking, I cannot put my head around it as well. But I think Milan, most importantly, at times, especially during the past few weeks, I haven't seen that character, that determination, that grinta that a lot of other teams have shown so far in the Serie A this season. And also, I wanted to get to Montella's comments in the pre-match conference. He's saying that even though in these past games we haven't been able to pick up a win, there haven't been many teams that have been playing better than us. I cannot see where Montella really has gone right with this statement, and I don't know which matches he has been watching, because to me, yes, maybe we haven't been fully dominated by many teams, but I'm sorry, with the record that we have at the moment, there's really no excuse, and there's no reason really to make a statement like that. More importantly, we have failed to score in 3 of the last 4 games in which we haven't picked up a win. So I really don't see how we have been playing well and better than many other teams, or how teams haven't been playing better than us. I don't know what Montella's smoking, to be frank with you guys, but really, I don't know what is going through his head at the moment. What's important, though, is that we come out hungry in this match and that we do fight for the 3 points. I know I keep saying it every week, but at times, actually, oftentimes Milan seems to have these lapses in concentration. You might have them playing completely well for 20 minutes, and then for the next 30 minutes, they're absolutely shit. It's a story of Milan for the past years. It's not anything new that we are being witnesses of just this season, and it's something in the mentality of this team that it's still there and still hasn't changed. So what's important is that we do come out hungry in this match, be fully concentrated, because like I said, Chievo is not a team to walk over. It's a team that still has lots of weapons, as you could see. There's still going to be a very tough team to beat, in my opinion. Now, I wanted to speak about the probable starting 11 because, of course, we will be seeing some changes as Bonucci will not be part of this match and he will not be part of the weekend fixture against his former club Juventus, and that is because he has been handed a 2-game suspension following that elbow in the face of the Genoa player during the weekend. The formation is going to be a 3-4-2-1, at least that's what it appears to be here. Donnarumma will be starting in net. The back three will be Musacchio, Romagnoli, and Rodriguez. So it seems like Musacchio will once again be making a return here to the starting 11 after we saw Zapata having quite a decent match against Genoa on the weekend. But I think Musacchio is ready to come back and be paired here with Romagnoli and Rodriguez. Also to note, Rodriguez back in that back three. We saw it last game as well, and it seems like Montella is sticking to that role for him at the moment. For the midfield, we got Calabria, Kessie, Biglia, but he might be replaced by Locatelli as Biglia seems to be fatigued. We saw it last game, we saw in the past couple of games, he has been doing lots of walking and not much running. So I think he definitely deserves a rest. Maybe he does not deserve it because he hasn't been playing up to his potential, but he definitely needs one as we cannot have players walking around the pitch during games. So most likely Locatelli will be besides Kessie there in the middle of the midfield, and to complete the midfield, Borini will be part of this lineup. Also because he has been probably the hardest worker on this team so far, in the past games at least, and I think he pretty much has been granted a starting role in this team now due to his heavy workload and also the ability to not only attack but also win balls, as we have seen in previous games. The two players playing right behind the striker will most likely be Suso and Çalhanoğlu. Suso providing lots of goals and assists so far in this beginning of the season. Çalhanoğlu had a very good start to the season. He had played some good matches, especially the one in the Europa League against Austria Vienna. But since then, he hasn't been, once again, up to his potential. So hopefully this new role right beside Suso behind Kalinic, which will be tomorrow's striker, will be suiting him in all sorts of ways. So that is the probable starting 11 for tomorrow. It's going to be a 3-4-2-1 to recap that. And I think, on paper, the team always looks decent, looks good to beat these types of opponents like Chievo. But then when it comes to games, it's a whole different story. You never know what to expect. Hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to break this sequence of negative results, which unfortunately we haven't been able to really gather anything from. So hopefully that will be the end of it tomorrow. And of course, we're going to need a morale boost for the weekend game against Juventus, because that's also another very important fixture. And both of these fixtures are going to be important. Like I mentioned, after the Genoa match, this might be Montella's last week if he fails again. I don't think there's any way of escaping the sacking if he does not put two great performances this week and if he does not get results from them. So we'll see exactly what happens tomorrow, but I'm very curious to see what you guys have to say regarding this match in the discussion. So please leave your thoughts in the comments section, and I'll be reading them for the next 5 minutes or so. Some guy with the same name as me, Giovanni, but with an E instead of an I. He says, do you think Conte's injury is one of the reasons why Milan have struggled? I don't think Conte's injury is the sole reason as to why Milan has been struggling. Of course, there are a lot of other factors, but following Genoa's match, I read a very interesting comment in the comments. I forget from who it came from. Maybe you guys, maybe it's one of you guys that is still in the chat. But this was a very interesting comment from this person. They said the problem with the team and also the formation and the lineup that they've been playing with, more the formation than anything, is because when Bonucci was introduced to the team, when they signed the Bonucci, it seemed like Montella wanted to revolve the formation around him. And I completely see where he's going with this, because prior to the signing of Bonucci, Milan was always sticking with the idea of the 4-3-3. That's originally Montella's formation. That's the one that he prefers to play with. And I could see where he goes with this. And then he said, once Bonucci came into the team, it seemed like that change of formation with 3 in the back, the 3-5-2, was all due to Bonucci and accommodating Bonucci in a formation in which he was used to, especially for the defense. And I completely agree with this, because I'm very, very fond of this hypothesis from this subscriber that wrote this. And I think, you cannot just revolve a formation around a player. You're calling for disaster. I understand you want to accommodate your best player on paper to play in the formation that he's used to, but you cannot forget about the other 9 to 10 signings that you made just because of one guy. These guys were signed for a particular reason. They were signed to play in a specific module that is adapted for Montella's playing style, and you cannot just change things for one guy. So that might be a reason as to why Milan has been struggling, and I wouldn't completely say that it's Conte's absence the reason why Milan has not been doing well. There's obviously other factors in there, but I will not solely point it towards one player there. Do I think we'll play well without Bonucci? I think we actually might be playing even better, to be honest. Last game against Genoa, after a sending off, I find that we were playing even better in 10 men than we were with 11 players. And it's going to be interesting to see, because this is going to be one of the only times so far this season that Bonucci will not be playing. So I'm very curious to see how Milan adapts to that. I'm still a bit nervous about the 3 at the back. I would have preferred formation with 4 defenders in the back. But I'm very curious to see how Musacchio, Romagnoli, and Rodriguez fare tomorrow. And I'm very curious to see what could happen in the following match against Juventus. But my point here is that if we do actually play better without Bonucci in these 2 games, then, it might be a reason for Montella to reconsider some things and maybe go back to a 4-man defense at times. Liban Yusuf says, is Bonaventura injured? Yes, he is injured. He picked up a knock, I believe, following that Genoa match. I'm not quite sure of the extent of his injury. I know he will be missing this match for sure, and he's also at risk of missing the match against Juventus. Abu Bakar says, why is Andre Silva not playing ahead of Cutrone? These are once again things that Montella needs to decide for himself. Cutrone has a great fighting spirit. He makes great runs, and I'm very happy of his performances every time he's been given the chance. But at the same time, you spend a lot of money on Andre Silva. Why not employ him in your formation, in your lineup week after week if you've been spending that much money and if he's been proven to be a prolific goal scorer, especially in the Europa League. Kalinic, for me, last game was completely disappointing. I hope that he does not have another performance like we saw on the weekend against Genoa, because that would be just embarrassing for him and Milan. In general, we have been really lacking a strong forward this season, to be honest, and this corresponds to the lack of goals we have presented in the standings. If you take a look at the standings, only 12 goals to account for in 9 games in the Serie A is just so weak for a team that has spent a lot of money. Not only that, but as guys like Angie Silva, Cutone, Kalinic, Suso, Bonaventura, all guys that could score goals. It's just way too low. 12 goals in 9 games is embarrassing. And Milan definitely needs to step it up with the goal scoring as well. Mustafa says, do I think that Montella will use a 4-3-3 now? I think we should go back to a 4-man defense. Like I said, I would maybe prefer the 4-man defense. Yes, we have kept 2 clean sheets in the past 2 games, but I think defensively we have been having lots and lots of problems this season. So maybe it will be an idea to change to that 4-3-3. However, it will probably not be the case tomorrow against Chievo. Jamie Muscat says, do you think that everyone hyping up Milan in the summer put too much pressure on the team and Montella? Look, as professional players, you're bound to get this pressure, no matter if it's positive pressure or negative pressure. Even teams like Juventus have pressure every game, because they have established a standard for their fans to win every game. So it's not only Milan that has this pressure just because we have made lots of signings, we have spent a lot of money. I don't think pressure really has... Definitely it plays a part, but I don't think it's the dominant reason as to why Milan has not been doing well. There are a lot of different reasons, and I'm sure all of you guys already know these reasons. Change of tactics frequently, poor ideas, lack of ideas, playing players out of position, not being there all mentally for some players. There's lots of reasons as to why this team is not able to gel just yet. But Montella, more importantly, if he does want to keep his job, he needs to stick to a certain module. And I think it's the module where he has been having the most success. A 4-3-3 at the moment, or even a 4-4-2 with a very strong midfield and a strong defense to, avoid conceding goals and avoid conceding many chances to the opponents, is maybe what Milan really needs at the moment. So hopefully, Montella gets his act together before it's too late and turns this team's season the other way around. Liban Yusuf says, I saw an article that after the derby that Bonucci and Romagnoli had a heated argument. Well, I actually saw a post today, I believe it was on Instagram, from Romagnoli, saying that there was absolutely nothing in that, and Bonucci agreed as well. So once again, just paper talk there regarding that. Tyler Jimenez says, who's captain? If I'm not mistaken, I saw that Bia was going to be captain in Bonucci's absence, but I'm not completely sure. This all depends whether he will be starting tomorrow or not. Jamie Muscat says, I predict a 2-0 Milan win. We will find it hard, but I think we will start getting the right results from tomorrow. Well, I definitely hope so. What do I think about Donnarumma's performance so far this season? Worthy of the $6 million a year he is earning? I don't think so. Donnarumma, I don't think he's been phenomenal so far this season. Matter of fact, he's been a bit quiet, especially in recent games. He could have done better, definitely in certain occasions, but especially going back to that Inter game, I cannot blame him for any of the goals. The defense was absolutely horrible. The marking was absolutely horrible. It seemed like all the defenders were just ball watching instead of picking out their man. And yes, I mean, Donnarumma has not been having the best performances this season, but I don't think the blame could be fully on him so far. Yes, I also wanted to mention a bit about this termination of contract with Adidas. Definitely, it's a bit of a shock because Milan and Adidas have been together for a very, very long time. But, sometimes, sponsorship deals, marketing, these types of things are a big part and play a big part in a club's success, especially with finances. And if they do find better deals going forward with other companies, like it's been reported with Puma, sometimes you need to terminate these contracts and go for what's best for the team. But I mean, this is more on the marketing side, the sponsorship side, which definitely plays a part in terms of the team's finances. But at the end of the day, what I care about at least is the results. Christy says 1-1 prediction. Has there been any contact between Milan and Ancelotti yet? For the last time, guys, Ancelotti will not come to Milan, especially this season. He has stated it already that he wants a break from club football, from football in general, for at least a year. So no, the answer is no. There has been no contact whatsoever. One last question. Electrical Drift says, if Milan get rid of Kalinic, who could replace him? Will it improve much? We need a certainty, guys. I don't know who's going to replace him, but I believe that if Milan fail to qualify to the Champions League, he might be one of the players that Milan need to sacrifice. Yes, it's still very early in the season, but so far, he has shown very little, in my opinion. Way less than the other two strikers that we have. And this is unacceptable in my opinion. So I don't know who could replace him, but we need someone that will bring certainties to the club and will bring lots and lots of goals. Alright guys, that's going to wrap it up for the match preview of tomorrow's fixture between Chievo and AC Milan. Once again, match day 10 in the Serie A season. Kickoff at 8:45 p.m. Italian time at the Stadio Bentegodi. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for, once again, supporting the channel. If you haven't yet, please leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Also, subscribe to Rossoneri TV to stay updated with everything going on at the club. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for the match review. This has been Gio signing off from Rossoneri TV. And as always, Forza Milan.